The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Willow Chen stepped through the crystalline doors, her combat boots echoing against the polished floor. Behind her, Logan Martinez carried a small, transparent container. Its contents would change the fate of an entire species. The assembled delegates represented 47 civilizations, each more ancient than humanity's recorded history. They had summoned Earth's representatives to answer for what they called a disproportionate response. What they didn't understand was that there was no such thing when it came to humanity's children. Councillor Vexrath, a towering Zeltharian with scales that shimmered like oil on water, gestured with one of his forearms. Representative Chen, your species has violated the accord of civilized warfare. The complete annihilation of the Krevtak people, all 4.3 billion of them, across 7 worlds, cannot stand without consequence. Willow's expression remained carved from stone. Play the recording, Logan. Logan set the container on the center podium and activated the holographic projector. The chamber filled with images that made even the most battle-hardened delegates recoil. The Krevtak had been a parasite species, one that reproduced by implanting their larvae into living hosts. They had encountered hundreds of species across the galaxy, always choosing adults, always following the unwritten rules of survival. But when they discovered an isolated human colony on Proxima Centauri 3, they made a choice that sealed their fate. They had implanted 23 human children. The hologram showed 6-year-old Sarah Kim screaming as the larvae writhed beneath her skin. It showed 12-year-old Marcus Okonkwo convulsing on a medical table, while human doctors desperately tried to save him. It showed the Krevtak ambassador laughing, actually laughing, when confronted about the violation of every treaty humanity had signed. Children are more compatible hosts, the recording played. The Krevtak's chittering translation cutting through the chamber. Softer tissue, developing immune systems. We needed them for our next generation. Willow let the silence stretch. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of humanity's fury. You want to know about disproportionate response? She walked slowly around the chamber, making eye contact with each delegate. Let me tell you about humanity. We are the species that domesticated wolves because we thought they looked lonely. We are the species that will rush into burning buildings to save pets that aren't even our own. We create laws to protect the smallest, most vulnerable creatures on our planet. She stopped, her hands gripping the edge of the podium. But we are also the species that fought to global wars over ideological differences. We are the species that split the atom and immediately wondered what would happen if we made it into a weapon. We are descended from primates that would rather throw their own feces than back down from a threat. Logan activated another display, this one showing Earth's military response timeline. 72 hours from first distress call to complete mobilization. 144 hours to the first Krevtak world falling. 3 weeks to total extinction. You think we overreacted? Willow's laugh was bitter. We showed restraint. A Galthine delegate, their translucent form flickering with agitation, spoke up. You committed genocide over 23 individuals. Your own species numbers in the billions. The Krevtak children had no children, Logan interjected, his voice hard. Their species doesn't mature for 200 years. Every single Krevtak we eliminated was an adult who made a choice or supported that choice. They saw our children suffering and decided it was acceptable. Willow pulled up medical records. Sarah Kim died after 16 hours. The larvae consumed her from the inside. Marcus Okonkwo lasted for days. He was stronger, so he suffered longer. 18 of the 23 are dead. The 5 who survived will need organ replacements for the rest of their lives. 1 will never walk again. She closed the files and faced the council directly. You want to know the difference between humans and every other species in this chamber? You all have evolved past the point where you'd sacrifice everything for your young. You calculate acceptable losses. You make rational decisions based on greater good mathematics. Humans never evolved past that. Logan added, we can't. It's hardwired into our DNA. Threaten a human child, any human child, and you threaten every single one of U.S. Councillor Vexrath's scales shifted to a deep purple uncertainty. In Zeltharian physiology, you're saying that if any species harms your offspring, you will pursue total annihilation? No, Willow corrected. I'm saying if any species harms any children in a way that demonstrates intentional cruelty and disregard for sapient life, humanity will respond. The Kruvtak had choices. They could have asked for volunteers. They could have used adults. They could have sought alternative solutions. She placed both hands flat on the podium. Instead, they chose to torture children because it was convenient. They chose to laugh about it. They chose to ignore our warnings, our pleas, and our offers of peaceful resolution. They made their choice. We made ours. The chamber erupted in debate. Some delegates argued for sanctions against Earth. Others, particularly those with strong parental bonding instincts, began to reconsider their positions. Finally, the ancient archon of the council, a being of pure energy that had witnessed civilizations rise and fall, spoke for the first time in 3 centuries. The Kruvtak are extinct. This cannot be undone. But the human representative raises a point that this council must consider. We have grown comfortable in our civilization, perhaps too comfortable. We have forgotten that some actions are unforgivable. The archon's light pulsed thoughtfully. I propose a new article to the Galactic Accord. The intentional harm of any species' immature population shall be considered an existential threat, warranting complete defensive response. Let the fate of the Kruvtak serve as reminder some lines must never be crossed. Willow and Logan left the chamber 2 hours later, the new article ratified by unanimous vote. As they walked back to their ship, Logan finally spoke. Do you think they understand now? Willow looked up at the stars, thinking of Sarah Kim's parents, of Marcus Okonkwo's siblings, of 5 children who would carry scars forever. They understand that humans protect their children, she said quietly. Whether they understand why doesn't matter. They just need to remember what happens if they forget. The galaxy had learned an ancient human truth. You could negotiate with humanity's governments, trade with humanity's merchants, even war with humanity's soldiers, but harm a human child, and you would face something far more terrifying than any army. You would face a species that valued its future more than its present and would burn the galaxy down to protect it.